Hey YouTube, this is Kevin Bowen at Bowen Small Engine, and today we're still, of course, working on the LTX 1040. I had recently tried to start it just to see if it was going to turn over. It has rained a little bit here, guys. Honestly and logistically, you should never leave a piece of equipment out in the rain. Unfortunately, we don't have anywhere to store it, so this is just a common feature that I come across with the Kohler Courage. When you get them wet, or should I say when you get the starters wet, you'll run into a situation where the starter will not engage. The reason being is, if you look, there is a rubber disc here, and under this disc there is a steel helix that actually drives, okay, and makes friction between the helix and this little rubber disc, which in turn drives your pinion to start the engine. This is a piss poor design on Kohler's part. I do not like these starters at all. I have seen them on Kohler. I have seen them on some Tecumsehs. I haven't yet seen them on Briggs, but give them time. All the engine manufacturers try to save $1. It disgusts me, to be completely honest. I did note in the other video that the valve cover on this, if you look, you'll see has a cork gasket. They are notorious for leakage, as you can see. I mean, it's pretty obvious at this point that this motor's been leaking over the years. So that's another reason that I really don't like these engines. Of course, if you're running this engine, you're going to smell the smoke, but once you get a run in it, you know, the muffler's so hot that you're not going to actually notice the seepage, and you're going to blow the engine up, guys. So I'll be honest, if I was out and I was going to purchase a new mower, I would steer clear of the Kohler Courage. Anything that says Kohler Courage, okay? As far as single cylinders, I will say that the Kohler Courage twin cylinder is a fairly decent engine. They basically just copied the Kohler command. But I also wanted to tell you guys about the carburetors on these. On these carburetors, you're going to run into all kinds of problems. The afterfire celluloids, I can't begin to tell you how many times I've replaced them. And it's a terrible, terrible problem when you encounter one of these engines that ain't over a year old and you got to go through the carburetor, put a new inlet needle and seat, and then assuming that your afterfire celluloid can even be cleaned, okay, clean it. Most of the time your afterfire celluloids will have corroded due to the ethanol, and there is a little plunger that's on them on some models. I'm not sure on this particular model. They may actually be just a solid brass plunger that's on the end of it, but on some models there's a little rubber tip on the end of your afterfire celluloid that will just completely deteriorate, and it just makes a world of troubles. So just wanted to tell you guys about that. So if you see one of these Kohler Courage engines, steer clear of them. As I said earlier though, the Kohler Command and the twin cylinder Kohler Courage, they aren't too bad. But I do not like these engines just because of those problems. I will say this though, Kohler does actually recommend anymore that you can use Permatex to seal their valve covers. Guys, I'd like to tell you that that actually fixes the problem, but as a master service tech, I'm not going to lie to you. It really doesn't. Over time, these little engines, they have so much vibration because of the frames that they're on, and these frames on these Cub Cadets are piss poor too, that the vibration will actually take the valve covers, even with the Permatex, and loosen them enough that they'll start seeping oil as well. So it's more or less a cop-out on Kohler's part, okay? It's sad, but it's true. I just wanted to note that.